And welcome, everyone, to another edition of Magic Pod Squad. Dante Marcatelli, George Galante, and quite frankly, George, one of the greatest Magic players we've ever had. Rashard Lewis, kind enough to join us for Magic Pod Squad. And I tell you what, how great is it being back here? But it is a blast for us to have you back here, Rashard. It feels like old times.
Oh, man, it's always a blast coming back to Orlando because it just brings back so many memories, and all those memories are great memories. So I love this city, because it's one of the best times of my career.
It was one of the.
Looks like he can still play. By the way, I'm not buying it. You could play. If I put you, could you give me 15 minutes right now?
I can give you offense, no defense.
That's fine.
No blocking shots. I can give you some corner three-pointers or something.
Perfect. What do we need?
That's what the league is going. Come on. Well, let everybody know what you're up to now, Rich. I know last year you were on the sidelines. You were coaching with the Detroit Pistons.
Yep.
You've been in the Big Three since its existence.
Yes.
Just what are you up to now?
Pretty much, like you said, I was with first-year coaching with the Detroit Pistons last year. Coach Casey brought me on. He drafted me when I played with the Seattle Supersonics and kind of raised me from a young kid into a man. So he asked me to come out there and help, which I enjoyed it. I feel like it's the next chapter in life for me of being able to still be around the game and looking forward to continue to do it, in the future. As well as during the summertime, playing the Big Three. Still love to compete. Still love to play basketball at a high level. So I feel like that's kind of like half-court professional basketball. That's how I look at it.
It is half-court.
As an old head, that's still professional to me because you got a lot of talent in it. I mean, it's a lot of guys that play.
Yeah.
And a lot of good coaches.
Old head, because that makes us super old heads over here. Is that how do you feel like? I
do.
That you're retired, do you feel that way?
I do, but like I said, we're still young in life. Of course, I still got a long life to live. So I feel old in basketball terms. I guess you could just say in basketball.
So how was the year coaching? That was your first foray into coaching.
Mm-hmm.
What did you like? What did you not like? Or was there things you didn't expect?
No, I really enjoyed it. I loved it. A lot of people always saying like, it's not too much for you now. You have a real job and you're gonna be. I'm like, man, this is basketball. Like basketball to me is not a job.
Right.
It's so much fun and I love it. I don't look at it as a job. And the traveling, I mentally kind of put my mind to a place where, as a player, traveling night in and night out, being at the practices, the meetings, and all that. So I did it for 17 years. So it was nothing for me. It was easy for me to go into the season and be mentally prepared for the travel and everything else, just because of the fact that I've done it. If I was coming in and never done that type of traveling, then it'll probably be a little different for me. But I was mentally prepared and ready to go.
A little more stiff on the longer flights though now?
Definitely, I am. Definitely that I'm older, but that's when you just got to keep getting up. You stretch them legs out a little bit.
What are the guys nowadays asking you when they pick your brain and you have conversations with young guys that are coming into the league now? Guys are coming in same age as you were, 19, 20, starting their NBA career. What are you telling these guys?
I will always tell the guys, you stick with it because I can remember being that young guy, 19, 20 years old, and wanted the success right away. Wanted to be an all-star or score 20 points a night, be on SportsCenter or be a big key to making the playoffs. It don't happen overnight. Sure. And that was a big thing that I was saying with a lot of the young guys that was with the Pistons. It was a young team that's rebuilding. Like, you got to stick with it. You're going to have good nights, you're going to have bad nights, but for the most part, you're 19, you're 20 years old. There's a lot of learning and a lot of experience to gain. Everybody's not LeBron James or Kobe Bryant that can come in and have immediate success. A lot of us, it takes time. I'm not saying that you won't be successful your first year, but you will be a better player down the road in 5 or 6 years playing in the NBA from gaining that experience. So I always tell guys, you're going to have bad weeks, bad days, bad months. Don't beat yourself up over it. Be mad that day, but get up tomorrow and continue to work. Continue to get better, and that's how you succeed.
When did that click in, though, for you, Rashard? Because I would imagine that the majority of players that come in, especially the ones, let's take a team like you coached last year in Detroit.
Right.
There's a lot of kids on that team, and I say kids because they're 18, 19 years old. I mean, I'm super old now. That they've been, the best player on their team. I mean, and you went through this as an 18-year-old kid coming out of high school. When does that kick in for a player? Because it's not easy to tell them that. Right. I'm sure somebody maybe told you that when you were a rookie. Maybe it was Coach Casey. Maybe it was somebody else. When does that click in for a guy? And does it, I mean, I'm sure it clicks in differently for everybody, but when did it click in for you, say?
Like you said, it does click in different for everybody. Sometimes it could take a year, it could take 2 years, it could take 30 games. But with me, I would say after my first 2 years in the league, going into my third year, I gained a lot of experience. I think more than anything, it's the confidence level. But coming in as a teenager, you know, I was able to mature a little bit more from playing in the summer leagues and, you know, practicing hard. But I would say my third year, because you want to gain that experience on the court playing with the real guys.
Right.
And when you get that experience, the confidence level goes up, everything goes up, and you put the work in during the summer. But by my third year, I felt like I had it figured out. I was still learning, but, you know, everything was starting to come to me like this. It was all about winning ball games. And when you're young, it's all about me. I want to be an all-star. I want to get paid the big bucks. I want to get 30 points a night. It's all about, you know, the individual person. But when you figure it out over the years, it's all about the team. It's about us. And when the team has success, the individual has success. So you learn over time that it's not just about that individual person. It's about us as a
Did you call any of your old coaches back once you became a coach and apologize to them? and say, hey, I'm really sorry. I get it now.
I apologize, but I did definitely get it. You know, being a little bad body language at the end of the bench, wanting minutes, wanting shots. You know, I was just learning. I was a kid. If they would have put me out there, I probably would have been like a deer in headlights. So I think sometimes, like I said, some kids are very talented. They can come in and play right away. But I would say 90% of rookies or guys that get drafted into the NBA, it's a learning process.
Yeah.
It's definitely learning. You still can have success, but it's still a learning process.
Yes, of course. That's true. You know, we think about when he came here in 07, right? You played parts of 4 years with the Magic.
Right.
Looking at it today, and I obviously knew this, but I don't know why I had forgot. You had a whole basketball life before you got here. That's 9 years in Seattle.
9 years in Seattle.
That's crazy.
That is a phenomenal career for a lot of people.
100% right.
Yeah.
That you had a whole journey.
Yeah.
I imagine Ray Allen was one of those guys that pulled you aside. You were his rookie.
Yeah.
What? I mean, 9 years in Seattle.
Like you said, 9 years in Seattle, and that's when I had my best season when Ray came to the team. I played with Gary Payton for the first 2 years, and then Gary Payton was traded for Ray Allen. And when Ray Allen came to the team, he was one of those guys, you know, we see Jesus Shuttlesworth, not Ray Allen. You know, we're young guys in the locker room, listen to every story he tell us.
Right.
But it wasn't about the stories he told us. It was the summertime, the work we put in during the summer, working on our bodies and our game. We followed the things he did. He would get to the arena before games, before anybody would get there. By the time us young guys would walk into the arena for the game, he's already in his locker reading a book, mentally preparing himself for the game. And we're like, what are you doing? You're not going to go shoot? He's like, I already did all of that. So we picked up the small things, and he told me to be an all-star in this league, you have to be consistent. Not saying that you're going to play great every night, but when you have a bad night, you have to get back on to try to get back on to the next game. And that's how you become an all-star. And he was like, what you do outside of the court is how you perform on the court. And he helped me make my first all-star team. So I give a lot of credit to Ray Allen.
That's awesome.
For being a great leader, you know, not only for just myself, but for us as a team, because we was a young team. And he was a great leader.
All right, well, I got to hit you because we know Gary Payton can tell stories, and we know Ray Allen can tell stories. So in Orlando, we don't know a lot about Ray Allen and Gary Payton. So what give us some good stories that stood out that you can tell on a podcast from those two guys?
Gary Payton's story that stands out, and I tell this story all the time. Of course, I was drafted out of high school, teenager. I'm a kid.
Yeah.
And the year I get drafted, it was a lockout. So right after I got drafted, league locks out, and I don't think we didn't start till January. So once they lift the lockout, we fly into Seattle a week before training camp starts. Me and Jelani McCoy are the rookies. But camp don't start for another week, so the guys, we're just playing pickup basketball games. So our first day to get there, somebody from the staff was picking us up from the hotel, me and Jelani McCoy, to bring us to the facility just to play pickup before camp starts the following week. We get to the facility late. I think we got there like 30 minutes late when they had already started playing pickup, but it was because we got lost. The guy that was driving us ended up taking a wrong turn, and we end up getting there late. So as soon as we walk into the gym, me and Jelani McCoy walk in, they literally playing a full game of pickup. Gary Payton dribbling the ball up the court, stops in the middle of the pickup and started cussing me and Jelani McCoy out.
Did he?
What the? What are y'all doing? Y'all are late. Why y'all not here? We both looked at each other. We pointed to the guy that was driving like, we're kids. We were young teenagers. Like, it was his fault. He was like, I don't give a damn. Y'all got to get to the gym. I have my homeboys pick y'all up. And, it's just Gary Payton being Gary Payton.
How about that?
And it scared us because we know we're young teenage kids that just got drafted. But starting to figure Gary out and learn what type of person he was, he's just passionate about the game. Yeah. When he steps in between those lines, he's playing basketball. And we just happened to walk in the building while he was playing basketball.
Yep, that's right.
If we caught him outside of those lines, maybe he would have came at us a little different. But
that's right.
Gary Payton in between those lines is all basketball.
Think about those two that you learned from. Then you come here in Orlando, you get a young Dwight Howard, right? You get all the young Jameer Nelson. You get how valuable was that?
It was very valuable.
Being a veteran for those guys.
It was very valuable for me because, playing 9 years in Seattle, I learned a lot from sitting back watching my first couple of years to becoming a role player, then to becoming one of the main guys in the offense. And when I got to and I was all about winning. My whole game was just win, win, win. It's not about, getting 50 points a night and losing the game. It was just about winning. So when I came to the Orlando Magic, it was obviously, like you said, it was a young team. And my whole thing was winning basketball games. I didn't care about the amount of money I was making or me coming in, being this superstar from the Seattle Supersonics. It was about us. It wasn't about me. That's how I always approach, every game. It's about us. And to be successful, over the years of watching the NBA, like the Spurs, the Lakers, it's about the team to win a championship. It ain't about Kobe Bryant or Tim Duncan. It was Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, from Shaq to Rick Fox it was about the team. So I always felt that as long as I could have my teammates engaged and feel like they're a part of the success, you get the best out of them on the court.
But you were a big reason for that success because of you playing for what the team needed, because it's been well documented, obviously, like Stan talks about it all the time. You were a three for 9 years. 10 years, and you played the three and small forward, and that was your thing. And then Stan pulls you into the office one day and says, listen, like, we want to put you at the four.
Right.
And I don't think there was much pushback from you. You're just like, hey, listen, whatever the team needs, we're good. And you guys kind of revolutionized the game a little bit, because now look around. Everybody's got a stretch four, and it all goes back to that with you.
That's right. I remember, like you said, when Stan told me he wanted to move me to the four, and I was, like I said, I told him whatever helps, the team win ball games, and I was for it because we had Hito Turkoglu that was playing the three position, which was the same position I played when I was in Seattle. And I know Turkoglu was a great basketball player. I played against him when he was in Sacramento, or even played against him when Orlando, we faced each other, and I know Turkoglu was going to be a big key to us succeeding. So when he said to move to the four, I was all for it, as long as it was success for the team.
Yeah.
I may have took a little bit of backlash by not being that 30-point scorer or what everybody was always looking for.
But we didn't need that from you.
Exactly. It was all about winning. As long as we win basketball games,
that's right.
Nobody's talking bad about the Orlando Magic. When you're losing, they try to point the finger, but that's just a part of sports. And with this organization, the team we had, it was a family. We didn't have guys stabbing each other in the back and then smiling in their face. No, we was a real family, and we played that way on the court.
Yeah.
And I feel like the better relationship you have with guys off the court, coaching staff as well, the better it'll show. The more it'll show on the court.
I always tell Dante, and you may remember it or you may not remember it. It will stick with me forever. The year we went to the finals, we had a dinner at training camp, and everybody got the handbooks and whatever else, and everybody's sitting around a big table at the dinner. And I don't know if and Stan went through each guy.
Yep.
Started, Dwight, Rashard, Hito, Jameer, and he went all the way down to O'Donnell. No offense, O'Donnell. We went all the way down to O'Donnell, right? This is what we need you to do to win.
Yes.
I need you to do A, B, C, D, and E. Rashard, I need you to do A, B. And everybody to a man just kind of stood and they knew, but that's rare. Is it not, Rashard?
Yeah, no, it's very rare. And that's why I really like Stan, not only as a coach, but as a person, because coaches like Stan, be straight up with you as a player.
Mhm.
That's what you need. You need to tell us our roles.
Yeah.
Because I can be a great defender, rebounder, but I average 12, 13 points with the Sonics. Now I'm coming to the Magic. First thing is on every basketball player mind is scoring.
Yeah.
Now I want to go get 20 points because, you score, you get paid. So when Stan tells you your role, look, you're a defender, you're a rebounder, you're a three-point shooter, or you're, whatever your role is, and if you know that as a player, you go out there and play your role. You can't get upset when you're not playing your role if coach takes you out the game for not doing your role. Because, when you have Dwight Howard on the team, Jameer Nelson, Hito Turkoglu, those are our offensive guys.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the guys we're going to go through offensively. Marcin Gortat, you're the backup center. I need you to rebound. Need you to defend and take the offensive points when it comes to you, when you're open and when you get it.
Right.
But for the most part, Dwight Howard, Jameer Nelson, he lets everybody know their role defensively, offensively. And if you don't know your role, come talk to me because we don't want to have no type of friction or bad body language.
I love that.
Because one person do it, it can trickle down to the team, especially if you have a guy like Dwight Howard or Hito Turkoglu, one of the main guys on the team. If they showing bad body language and a bad attitude as the leaders, it trickles down to the team.
That's right.
So you want to make sure that don't happen throughout the team.
I don't know why that dinner sticks with me even to this day, but I just remember leaving there, and I had been to a bunch of dinners like that before with speeches that were similar, but for whatever reason, it was the way you guys were even just, I don't want to say you were locked in at dinner, but you were locked in at dinner, right? And I left there and I went home and I told my wife, and I was like, holy, like, we're going to be damn good.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to be good. And she's like, what do you mean? You just had dinner. I'm like, you can just tell by the vibe in the room with the guys. You could just tell.
Right.
Special.
Well, and you're going in revolutionizing the game really because you got 2 6'10" guys who can handle, who can defend, who can pass, who can shoot.
Right.
Now you're leading the league in threes made. The team is leading the league in threes made.
Right.
You've got a big that you can play through. I mean, that hadn't been done till that point.
Right. And
the way you guys did it.
And a lot of credit goes to Dwight Howard because he was obviously one of the best centers in the league at the time, dominant in the paint, as well as a lot of credit goes to the coaching staff, Stan Van Gundy as well as the staff, because he didn't come in from Miami and coach the way he coached the Miami Heat. He coached to the players that he had on his team.
Right.
He had a Dwight Howard. He had, of course, Hito, Jameer, JJ. He had shooters, but he had such a dominant force in Dwight Howard. He coached the style that would fit best for the type of players he had. And that's what makes great coaches. Not coming in with, say, the Miami Heat culture and try to bring it to the Orlando Magic. Maybe you don't have that Miami Heat culture type players.
Yeah, right. True.
He coached to what he had.
Right.
And that's why, those are some of the best coaches, and that's why I still think Stan is one of the best coaches that I've ever played for, because he's always made adjustments. If it was during the game or in the playoffs, whatever it was, or the type of players he had, if it was a trade made, Vince Carter coming to the team, whatever it was, he made adjustment within the organization.
It's interesting. We just had Ryan Anderson on a podcast recently as well, and he said when he first got here, he couldn't do anything right. Stan wrote him, and he said, you're laughing because you heard those guys. He said, Rashard could do no wrong.
He did say that. He's like, Rashard was his favorite. Yeah, Rashard was his favorite.
Did you feel that way? Did Stan ever get on you? I never heard Stan get on.
Stan gets on everybody.
Sure he does. Yeah.
Stan gets on us.
He gets on everybody. If you're not doing
But I also never heard him yell at Rashard. You had a special relation. You either did everything right.
I don't want
he
to say I did
appreciated your
everything
sacrifice.
right.
I
think he appreciated the sacrifice.
Yeah.
But not only that, I'm not a big talkative guy that's going to be screaming and yelling in practice. I led by example.
Yeah.
Putting the work in, getting there early, staying after practice, getting up shots, or in the weight room to get my body together. Whatever it was, I led by example. And I was always, I always practice hard. I would always do, whatever coach wanted me to do. Because like I said, I felt like as one of the captains of the team, if you don't do it, the other guys won't follow behind. So I've always been just that type of person to do, the right thing and try to win ball games that way, especially with a guy like Stan being a coach.
Now, think about that finals run, right? And I'm sitting here thinking, man, this guy hit a lot of big shots. I mean,
So
big
many
shots. With all of us praying, go in, right? Like huge mega shot. And I went back and looked at it. That 08-09 year, clutch situations, right? You're talking the last 2-3 minutes of a basketball game, close, within 5 points either way. Vince Carter was the most clutch player in the NBA.
Really?
We had that year.
Really?
Who we ended up adding.
Oh, you're talking about 08, 09.
08, 09.
Vince Carter. Okay, not on our
We
team.
ended up adding
right,
next
next
year.
year.
Right.
Number 2 in the whole league was Rashard Lewis.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
Really?
I can think of 6 plays off the top of my head that year.
But would you have known to that level?
No.
I
can think of the Detroit. I can think of the Detroit game winner. I can think of the Boston banker at the buzzer.
Yes.
I can think of the Cleveland game
twice.
winner on the wing, and then I can think of the Cleveland 3-pointer in the corner that tied it. That, oh my God, maybe we didn't even go to the finals if you don't hit that shot. What else? I got them on the top of my head.
I want to touch on those.
You have notes. I have no notes. This is all in my head.
A couple of them individually, but to be because we know he hit big shots, but there was a clutch gene about you your whole career, but something special that year. What is it about being, having the ball in the clutch?
Being the second in the clutch, I had no clue about that stat. I think
Dante made it up, by the way. He made the stat up. That's not a real thing.
It helps my story.
look good though.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
50% from the floor and 44% from 3 in the clutch. Second best in the NBA.
I don't know. I just had that attitude of I just wanted to win, and I've always felt like I'm gonna make every shot. I'm not a high volume shooter. I'm not gonna go out there and shoot 30 shots just to get 20 points. Maybe 12. I wasn't a high volume shooter, but I've always felt like give me the ball at the end of the game, I'm gonna make the shot. Even if I would miss the shot, I go home and I think about that shot all night long. But I just felt like I wanted to win so bad, I'm gonna make.
You trust you more than
trust
anyone.
me. I'm gonna make this shot.
Right? That's the mentality.
I think there's a couple of things with that. Like, number one, it's that, and number two, like, your demeanor all the time is very even keel, right? And you don't get too high, you don't get too low. Everything you look on, and you always know Rashard is in control of his emotions, of his play.
I was nervous every time Turk got the ball. Every time he touched the ball, I was a wreck.
Please don't throw this in the fifth row. Please don't throw in the fifth row.
So good, and he was so clutch. But you're right. But your demeanor, though, your
Jameer, Rashard, Hito were probably 3 of the best clutch players in the league over that 3-4 years time span, right? But with you, it was like it was never a doubt to me that ball was going to go in if you got it at the end. I just knew it was going to go in. I haven't felt that way in a long time, by the way.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
I miss you.
And also during that time, we had such dominant alpha males on the team that even Hito felt like he would make a shot. Jameer,
absolutely.
Dwight Howard. We was just at a point where we had that chemistry and we were so bonded.
Yeah.
We're going to make this shot. You're going to have to beat us. You're not going to come in and just make it's going to be an easy win. You got to beat us. You got to take it from us. It's going to go down to the last second for you to beat us.
Well, and Turk hit big shots too. But and we got video. We're going to roll this in after the fact. I wish we could play.
We're going to roll things in.
We're rolling it after.
We do that.
I wish you could see it now. We're huge right now.
Oh wow! I didn't know we do that.
But that game 1 against Cleveland, here you are in the Eastern Conference Finals. You just beat Boston. You just blew them out on their floor. And now you're in the Eastern Conference in Game 7 in Boston. The whole world is expecting LeBron and Kobe.
Yes.
Were they not?
Commercials all year long. The Muffets, Kobe LeBron.
All year.
That's all they wanted to see in the finals.
That's a little chip, I would think, on your shoulder.
It was a big chip on all of our shoulders. We took that personal because we felt like we was one of the best teams in the league in the East at the time, us, Cleveland as well as Boston. But they started that early in the season, that commercial.
Yeah.
So it was like
that was like all-star break.
Almost predicted that Lakers versus Cleveland. Yeah. So we took that personal.
But you go to the end of Game 1. Now here you are, the big bad Cleveland Cavs, who everybody assumes going to go. You're on their floor. They lost like 3 games that whole year at home.
Right.
Ball's in your hands with 4 seconds left with a chance to steal Game 1.
Right.
This is after, by the way, and we had one of our assistant coaches was Steve Hetzel at the time, who was an assistant coach with Cleveland during that team. And he liked to remind us that that they were up by 20-something points that game.
That's a good point.
Very
good point.
And we were getting smoked.
Very good point.
I could just about to say that. Game 1, we was excited. Eastern Conference Finals, we in Cleveland. We take the bus ride to the arena to go over for Game 1. Streets are just filled with people. They booing us as we getting police escort to the arena. So we're like, yo, this is crazy. Like, we're excited.
Right.
First quarter, game starts, ball goes up.
Whap.
It was boom, 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 boom. We was like, first time out, we go to the bench. We down maybe 10, 15 points. And we look at each other, and we looking around like, holy shit.
Yeah.
We just get ourselves into. And Stan's just like, calm down. Everybody just relax. Let's chip away at it. We're not going to get it all back in one play. Just calm down. I think that first timeout kind of relaxed not relaxed. We were still tense and, ready to play.
Kind of reset.
It was reset.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, it was too fast for us. We reset it, started chipping away at it, and I think we was cut the lead by halftime. I think it was down maybe a couple points.
Yeah.
But I can say that first quarter, it was like, oh my God.
You had to have been thinking, wow, what do we get ourselves into? Like you said, but now you fight back, and the game comes down to you with the ball in your hands.
We fight back down to the last second. I remember Coach drawing up a play. I'm feeling good. I started off first half not playing too well, but second half started playing well. I was playing a lot better, started getting a little rhythm. And I can remember, like I said, when it come down to that end of the game, I want to win. I don't care how we're going to do it, let's win. But I remember Turkoglu passing me that ball on the wing, and I had Rashard that was guarding me. And I felt like every time a big is on me, I'm going to beat you to the basket. I'm a lot quicker than you. So I tried to drive him to the basket. He played great defense. I can remember kicking it back out to Turkoglu at the top of the key. But I wanted to win, and my instinct was go to get the ball. So I just come running back out to the three-point line and, like kind of waving my hands like pass it back. And he gives it back to me. Knowing Turkoglu, he don't like to pass the ball a lot. He wants to shoot those shots.
Yeah,
So
he does. Yes, he does.
he ended up giving it back to me, and I gave Rashard a jab step, and he thought I was going to drive it again, and I just raised up. And when it went through the net, when I say the excitement I had, the chills, the feeling, I think I started pumping my chest. I'm looking over to the bench.
Awesome.
Everybody is so happy. I mean, just the magnitude of that game, Eastern Conference Finals, game one, on the road, playing against the best team in the NBA, had the best record that year.
That's right.
LeBron James, best player in the league. Everything was against us. Our back
Building was insane.
It was insane. It was the loudest building I've ever played in. The atmosphere was crazy. To steal game one was a big deal.
Is that, do you have that like bookmarked on your phone, and then that's how you go to sleep every night? You just have to go real quick before you go to sleep. You're like, hey, let me just watch this 15 seconds real quick. That's how I would go to sleep every night.
That's a shot that I always remember. But not only that, but I think stealing game one is a big key to us getting to the finals. We don't get game one.
Absolutely.
Well, that's what.
and I'm
sitting here thinking the story that you're telling is the story that Turk wishes he could tell, because in game two,
he hit the shot, right?
Yes, he makes it should have been the game winner.
Should have been the game winner.
Right.
LeBron makes
that miracle shot.
He goes, every year I have to watch this.
And not only that, it was only every year I got to watch it too. On NBA TV, they always showing either a highlight or they showing that game.
Right.
But I think it was like 1-point-something seconds left.
Yeah.
It was only like
it was less than 1 second.
Tip it in or catch and let it go.
Yeah.
And like I said, I remember this to this day. I'm guarding the guy on the inbounds. As he throws the ball, and the play was, we figured they wanted to try to get a lob tip in or whatever because you don't have time.
Right.
Yep.
So we cut the lob off for LeBron to get the tip, but we cut all the paint off. We playing the paint.
Yeah.
Not getting the tip in. So he somehow runs to the top of the key, and I remember the ball being passed to him, and I'm following the ball. I'm the inbound. I'm guarding the inbounder. Ball goes to him. I'm following the ball, and I'm running to where the ball's going. LeBron catches it. If you go back and watch the replay, Turkoglu's contested it, but you can see me come flying behind Turkoglu.
You tried
to try to contest it as well.
You tried.
And he shot it, and we got this game too. And when it goes in, the arena erupts, and we kind of looking around like, did that really just happen?
Yes.
We thought we was going up 2-0. We for sure knew we was in the driver's seat of this series. Now it's a whole new ball game.
Yes.
From a 1-second shot from the top of the key.
Yeah, that's garbage.
A miracle shot.
It was
a
miracle.
But you recover, you go back and win game 3 at home.
Yeah.
And then there was a feeling, George, that I remember and Magic fans felt, game 4 is almost just as important.
Yeah.
You can't go back up there 2-2.
No.
You had to get
you have to hold home court at that point because you can't give it back.
And it goes to you again in the corner with the big shot, end up going overtime and winning. But now you get your number called again. I would think if I'm Cleveland, I'm not letting Rashard beat me.
Right. For some reason, like I said, I think it was down 2 points at the time.
Yeah.
Down one.
No, we were down.
Down one.
Yeah.
Down one.
Down one. Didn't need a 3, but went for it. I love it.
Yeah, but I was wide open. I mean,
Yeah.
such a great play. Me and Dwight at the elbows, and I think we was screening down for, I don't know if it's Turkaloo or Jameer coming up, but that was just a decoy screen.
Yeah.
I mean, and I see a lot of teams run this play to this day, and people bring it up. But, after I set that screen, Dwight turns and screens for me, and, I like to post up on that right block. So that right side is one of my best, either shoot the jump hook or I love to turn over the right shoulder. Learned that from Akeem Olajuwon, the dream shake. Turn over my right shoulder to shoot the shot, the fadeaway shot. So me turning over my shoulder to shoot that 3 was almost a money shot for me because I worked on it all the time and I post up all the time. So coming off of that right side, catching it and turning over my right shoulder, it was like, and Coach told me, if you're open, let it go.
Yes.
Shoot it. If you're not open, then, go to the basket and, make a play. But if you're open for the 3, you have to shoot it. And nobody was on me.
Right.
And I'm turned over my right shoulder, which is a rhythm shot for me, and it was nothing,
Nothing but that.
He made it, and the arena erupted.
Erupted.
Oh, my God.
You talk about the arena erupting. Like, talk about the city at that point when we were making, all the years you were here, really. I mean, just talk about the fan base and the energy that you would.
White ignite.
Yes.
And that's what was going on in the city of Orlando. It was igniting throughout the playoffs, and it even bigger in the finals. That's what it was all about. We was trying our best to win the championship for the city of Orlando, for the DeVos family, because the energy, I mean, that only that year the fans was great, but in the finals, it just went to a whole nother level, man. The city was great. The arena was packed. It was a good feeling to have in here and in the Orlando area, especially when we was on the road playing playoff games. We would come back. The fans would be buzzing. They couldn't wait for us to come back off the road. It was great. It was a lot of fun.
I don't think we knew how special it was. So we tried to never take it for granted, but man, it was just a special. I mean, you're lucky in your career to experience it once. You got to go on and win a championship. You got to do it again, which is phenomenal down in Miami.
I'm not bitter at all.
Why did it have to be with the Heat?
Any other team but the Heat, for God's sake. Good Lord. All right.
But it seems like you get to the NBA Finals, and then Game 1 kind of seemed like a little bit of what happened with Game 1 in Cleveland, right? It kind of maybe the speed of the final.
Right.
But man, you 34-7 and 34-11 and 7 in Game 2 for Rashard.
That's pretty good. That doesn't suck.
You were on a mission in Game 2.
I was on a mission to win. That's all I was thinking about was win. We got to win ball games. And I think that first half I played really well.
Yeah,
especially in the first half. And after that Game 1 loss, we didn't only lose a close game. We got beat up pretty bad. So Stan laid into us. We got on film section. But as players, individuals, we got to man up. And I've heard the rumors in the media. We saw they're not fit for this. It's like I think Paul Pierce said, like it's like a Rottweiler versus a Chihuahua. So we heard it all, and I mean it didn't hurt our feelings, but we knew we had to bring a different level of play because we're in the finals playing against Kobe Bryant and the Lakers. So I just was locked in, came out playing well, shooting the ball very well, and we almost had a chance to win that game. Ended up missing a layup to go to overtime. But I think if we win Game 2, definitely a totally different series in the finals. Not saying we'll win it all, but it's a different series because during that time it was 2-3-2.
Yeah, right.
So we played the 2. Say we split 1-1, and we come into Orlando to play 3 games, and we win the first game at home, of course. I think Game 4.
That was Derek Fisher's shot.
Derek Fisher hits a crazy shot.
Shot that he makes shots all game long.
Right. He was 0 for 5, I think, at that point.
Send it to overtime.
Right.
Even we win that game.
Exactly. Well, you were about to tie the series. You're about to tie the series up. That's right.
And it's kind of back to 0-0, 3-game series. So, of course, we would still have to go back to LA. But at the same time, you want to be competing, and when Fisher hit that 3, I felt like it took a little bit of hair out of us because we didn't play the same way the very next game.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It just felt like
it kind of did.
It took air out of me, and I wasn't playing. Like, you felt like it. Oh man, like that was one another one we let. Yeah, that was
down 2-1 is different. Going down 3-1, you're like
that's big hole.
I remember that. I remember the timeout for the Courtney Lee because I was doing sidelines and I'd have my head in all those timeouts, and I remember him drawing up that play, and it must have been something you guys worked on a bunch because I remember seeing the diagram. I remember thinking, "Oh shit, this could work.
Yeah, right.
This could work." And Hito says Courtney keeps telling him, "Make sure the ball's there. Make sure the ball's there. Make sure it's a good pass."
And his answer, "Don't worry, bro, I get it there."
Come on, man. I got you.
Come on, man. Just get there. Just get there. I'll get it. It almost happened. It was a tough shot, but oh my goodness,
It was a tough shot. It was a great pass, tough shot. I mean, it's just sports. Sometimes it happens. I don't want to say it's all Courtney Lee's
No,
fault,
of course not.
because not one shot doesn't determine the outcome of a game. So it's a bunch of little.
But that building was like, I mean, it felt like for a second ball game, right?
Yeah.
And it was that well drawn up.
It was well drawn up. Great play. Ball just didn't go our way that night.
Nope, it sure did. Well, I think this is awesome. we could reminisce and go down memory lane
about all kind of stuff. Now, the Philly series when Dwight gets suspended, we ended up beating them on their court.
Yeah,
Boston Game 7 on their court.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it was just one of those years like we fought tooth and nail to win ball games. And
we feel as good as that year was, and you went to the NBA Finals. Where would you rank the 09-10 team? They were just as good, weren't they?
That was just as good.
You blew through the
not only
first
that,
two rounds.
probably even better.
yeah.
Right?
I contend we were
just
better the
probably
second
even better.
go around.
It's just sometimes things happen in basketball,
right?
Getting to the finals, you always want to say that's a better team because if I say we won a championship, that's a better team,
right?
But just like I mean, your team could be stacked. You have one injury to your team, it can mess a whole season up. Even if it's just a role player, like Peaches is a great role player for us.
Yes, that's right.
Peaches get hurt. He's our best defender. He's guarding LeBron James. He's guarding Kobe Bryant. He's guarding all these guys that we need him to guard. One role player gets hurt, it may change the whole season. We may not even make it to the finals. So, your health, chemistry,
that's right.
A lot goes into trying to be successful in the NBA.
Was Michael Petrus the only guy you played with that gave himself his own nicknames?
Aaron France.
Playoff Petrus. How can I say playoff Petrus?
Playoff Pete.
He was great, though. He was a big part of it. You're right.
Everybody was.
It was a great time. It was just an unbelievable time to be here in Central Florida.
Not only for the basketball players and the staff, but for the city.
Absolutely.
Orlando. It was great times. That's why every time I come back, I feel like I'm welcomed with open arms. Mm-hmm. Not only by the organization, but by the fans in Orlando. That's why I always call this my second home.
Wow. You've gotten to see the Advent Health Training Center.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Jealous.
Right. Is it? I mean, it's hard. People ask me, and we'll talk to some former players, and they're like, "Hey, how's that practice facility you guys have down there?" I'm like, "You really don't know until you see it."
Until you see it.
Tell me
and
what
I've been hearing all about it. But first time seeing it today, and it's great. It's amazing. I mean, it's got to be the best practice facility in the NBA, at least for now. Until 5 years down the road, somebody else go build something else, or go see somebody come in and see this facility and try to
copy it.
Yeah, copy it and add on to it. But like I said, this facility is first class. I mean, I've never seen a hill in the weight room.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Lap pool as well. It's definitely all the things. These players have no excuses to get better.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
Get healthy, get better. You have no excuses.
Now that you're removed a little bit from the game, and your kids were really little when you were here.
Yes.
Now that you're, and we talked about it, that's 14, 15 years ago, which is crazy to think about because for us, it does feel like, right? It feels like yesterday. Like, do you look back? Do you sit the kids down and say, hey, check out what Dad was back in the day? Like, yeah,
I do. All the time.
How do they react to that?
They love it, especially when I come back to Orlando. When I bring them back and we go to the games, they see my pictures on the wall, or they always see, the treatment I get when I'm playing when I'm here in Orlando. They excited about it. And every time I get ready to come back to Orlando, I'm always telling them, I'm about to go to Orlando. I got to do some events or do some charity events, with the Magic. And they know that this is probably my favorite team that I played on throughout my career. Even though I was drafted as a young kid and grew from a boy to a man in Seattle, won a championship in Miami, but this was the best time in my career playing with the Orlando Magic. Not only because of the teammates I had, great coaching staff, but like I said, the city of Orlando, they welcomed us all with open arms, and we was treated great.
Wow, such a special time. I show my kids the shots that he did.
So do I.
Hope you show your kids.
I'm gonna go watch them tonight again.
Go watch them. It was just,
It's a little embarrassing.
it was an awesome time. And listen, it's 35 years of Magic history.
Yeah.
And we're excited to have you, be in town more and come around more often.
Of course.
Yeah,
Fans will love it.
we need Rashard Lewis around more. How do we get that, Rashard? How do we do that?
I'm one phone call away.
All right.
No, I'm always
Okay.
calling in. But
All right.
one thing I can say is I can't wait to see the city get back to
That's right.
that type of basketball, which I think is coming real soon. They have a bright future, and the organization's always working to get good players here and to make them, a playoff team. And I can't wait to see the excitement back in the city of Orlando when they're back in the playoffs, not only the playoffs, but hopefully win the championship.
I love it. There's a buzz coming. People are
It's coming,
very excited about this team.
Gotta have patience. Patience is key. Like I said, with young guys, nobody's winning the championship 19, 20 years old.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe NCAA tournament, but the NBA championship is very tough. So the fans just have to have patience. Just like when I came here that first year, we got better every year. We went from first round, making it to trying to get past Detroit and Boston, ended up getting past them, making it to the finals, but it didn't happen in 1 year. It was a couple of years.
God, it feels like it happened in 1 year, doesn't
Feels
it?
like it happened in 1 year.
It was a
And
couple
these guys got a lot easier. You got clotheslined by the Pistons for 3 years.
Yeah,
That was
exactly.
That was
We was-
you
exactly.
can't do that anymore.
No,
the
you
game's
can't.
changed a little bit, but Rashard, this was awesome. Thank you so much, and we look forward to keeping up with you here.
Thank you very much for
All
having
right,
me.
thank you. One of our favorites, Rashard Lewis. That'll do it for this edition of Magic Pod Squad.